One of the main reasons physicians make the decision to practice medicine is the desire to help take care of people.
We knew it was a profession that allowed you to make a good living. We knew that it was a profession that carried a certain prestige in the community, and those are good things. But behind all of that, most of us really wanted to get into a line of work that would intervene in a beneficial way in people's lives. And sometimes in the process of training and conducting the business of medicine and solving problems, you lose touch with that sense of reaching out and the altruism that is part of this work. And I think it's important to get back in touch with that in some way. And this allows doing this kind of work allows you to kind of touch base with that part of your motivation again. I think that's important. Keeps you grounded.
Many physicians feel volunteering exemplifies the true calling of medicine and find it to be very rewarding. Numerous Trinity Clinic physicians take time out of their busy schedules to volunteer their medical expertise for mission work or assist other established nonprofit entities with their medical missions. Trinity Clinic pediatrician Martin Barrett and his wife Monica felt the call to volunteer in 2007.
In 2007, God called us. He made it very evident that we were needing to go on a trip to Africa. And the main way he did it was through my daughter, who was in 3rd grade, and she came home and had written a little card saying, "Dear Mom, this Christmas I feel like we're supposed to be missionaries to the poor, and Jesus is pushing me to tell you." And 6 weeks later, I was on that plane flight to Africa. When we first went over there, we totally fell in love with what they were doing in Uganda, and we fell in love with the children. And the thing is, we thought we'd go over there and we'd see poor, desperate children. We did see that physically, but spiritually, we did not see that.
That love for the children of Uganda forever changed the Barretts' lives. Motivated to make a difference, they established Parental Care Ministries USA.
Our goal is to put the love of the Father in action. And, you know, the real meaning of an orphan is someone who's fatherless. And what we've learned is that there's so many fatherless children in this world. We're so blessed here in America. We have so much of everything. It's just amazing what people don't have. And when you go and you travel and you see, the Lord will prompt you to help. And that's what we're trying to do.
Parental Care Ministries' mission is to fulfill the work that God has called them to do.
As a ministry, we're doing pretty much 3 things. We're providing. The Lord says in Isaiah 58 that we should share our bread with the hungry, and that's what we're doing. We're providing food, clothing, shelter for all these orphan children. We're also comforting the afflicted, and a lot of these kids grow up in homes where there's one parent or no parents or step-parents, and many of them have been tortured and abused, and they come and they receive the love of the Father in our homes and our orphanage, and they feel the Father's love, and it really, really changes their life. And then the third thing we're doing is we're proclaiming. We're called to, we must proclaim the Word of God to the people. You know, we're all called to preach the Word of God. I'm not any more qualified than anybody else to do that. But I think that when He calls you to do something, it's really whether or not you're going to obey that calling. I'm blessed to have a family that loves Jesus and wants to tell others about Jesus. And I'm thankful for a wife that is encouraging me to do that.
In 3 short years, Parental Care Ministries has grown quickly, making a huge difference in the lives of many Ugandan children.
We've been going at it hard now for 3 years, and we have 500 orphan and needy children in rural Uganda, southwest Uganda. We have 3 different schools. One's an orphanage boarding school. We have 2 other schools that are mainly day schools. And we have a network of about 40 pastors.
For the Barretts, not only has Parental Care Ministries made an impact on the children of Uganda, but it's helped them appreciate the little things in life.
The kids, we asked them what they would like for Christmas. They said an apple, just a little small green apple. That's what they wanted, and so we got them crates of apples, and it was so cute, and they were worshiping Jesus, and then crunch, crunch, crunch. You hear all these crunching of the apples, and then it's gone, and all you see is like 5 little seeds left, and And they're so happy. I mean, every time we give them an apple. I wish I was that thankful over little things, because I've forgotten, you know. It reminds me to be more thankful.
It's changed my life in that everything that we have is really His. If you can understand that, then you can understand how you can help others by giving what's not even yours to someone else. And sometimes I think one of the questions that someone posed to me one time was, you know, how much are you going to pay yourself to manage something that's not yours? I've been overpaying myself. And now I've realized that the Lord has called me to take care of these just children that have taught me so much about joy, that what it's meant to be joyful. And you can have nothing, but when you have Jesus, you have everything.
Trinity Clinic neurologist Erin Phillips and her husband Chris have volunteered for mission trips to Mexico, but felt the need to do more.
One of my wife's roommates from college had become involved with this group out of Dallas, Family Legacy Missions, and they're committed to Zambia, Africa, and the life of the orphan children over there. That's all they do. That's the only country they go to. And so we just educated ourselves a little bit about what they do, and I can remember it like it was yesterday. And we started looking through some of the stories of these kids whose lives have been impacted by Family Legacy. And there was one particular story that really hit us both, and we read it, and there we were in this Wendy's restaurant in the middle of nowhere, and we both broke down crying, and we just felt like that at that moment, that was really God speaking to us, saying, this is the one for you guys, and this is the time.
The Phillips answered that call from God and joined Family Legacy Missions International. In the summer of 2009, Erin and Chris went on a 10-day trip to Lusaka, Zambia.
We basically helped work with orphan kids and put on a camp, week-long camp, for the orphans to teach them about Jesus and try to be a witness and example to them.
When we first got there, of course they're happy to see you, but some of them are a little bit shy because if this was their first time to camp, they don't understand what this whole thing is going to be about, what this whole week is going to be comprised of, and so they're a little bit, at least some of my guys in my group were a little bit slow warming up to me, but each day they just got a little bit warmer, and by the end of the week it was to the point where they would come in every day. You know, they were bussed in from their different areas within Zambia out to this place where camp was held, and by the very last day they just come storming off the bus, and it doesn't matter if you hid yourself, it doesn't matter where you hid yourself, they would find you. They were ready to see you and ready for the day to get kicked off, and so it was a lot of fun just watching that progression throughout the week as they got closer and closer to you.
There are over 1 million orphans in Zambia. While their life is difficult, they are not without hope. Family Legacy helps to develop the relationship between American families and the orphan vulnerable children of Zambia.
Some of the stories that you hear, you just don't, it's a different life over there. You don't hear some of the stories of abuse and neglect and, you know, kids that are 10 and 12 years old who's are orphaned, and all of a sudden they're held accountable for younger siblings because their parents have died and there's nobody there to take care of anybody. And so there's these young kids trying to raise younger kids, and sometimes they'll get placed in a family with an aunt or an uncle, but stepchildren, children who are not your own, just do not get treated the same. I mean, if there's food to be rationed, it's usually my flesh and blood is going to get it first, and if there's any left over for folks who have been pushed on to us because of their parents died or they left them or whatever, if they get food, they get food. If they don't, I'm not too worried about it. That's the mentality, and that's the mentality not only from a hunger standpoint, but from an abuse standpoint. It's like they don't even think twice about the physical and sexual abuse of kids, sometimes their own, but very often the ones that get placed in their care from other families. So a lot of that stuff was just really hard to absorb and to just think about the reality that this stuff is happening halfway across the world.
Through all this, the Phillips hope they can provide a tiny bit of hope to the orphan children of Zambia.
My main goal is if I can have one child that understood that despite the horrific tragedy they're living in on a day-to-day basis, that there is someone out there that cares, and that it is their God, and that He will be there for them, truly will be the one person that will never stop caring for them.
Helping the orphan children of Zambia has made the Phillips appreciate their own children even more.
We take a lot of things for granted that a lot of people in this world don't have, and That's probably the biggest thing. We only had one child the first time we went over, now we have two, but just to look at them and at some point, first of all, just to love them and appreciate the love that you have for them and that they have for you. But long term, I hope I have the opportunity to get my kids involved, and I hope that their hearts are changed like mine was, and they realize how good they've got it, and that there are people in other parts of the world that really need us, and we feel like God's blessed us abundantly, and we want to share that with people, and I hope that our kids feel the same at some point, and we can do this as a family.
Trinity Clinic internal medicine physician Lee Ridenour has been involved with mission work to Mexico since 1990.
We took our family over the Christmas holidays for about 10 years down to rural Mexico between Tampico and Mexico City, and worked with Mayans and Aztecs and did medical missions, so that was always very rewarding. Actually affected my kids all pretty deeply.
With his past successful mission work and the desire to seek a new challenge, Dr. Ridenour decided to become involved with the Bethel Bible Church's mission work in Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone, by most metrics, is probably in the bottom 3 countries in the world as far as income. Devastated by a civil war that was over about 7 years ago. Amputations, polio's rampant. We are trying to get some micro business, a poultry farm possibly. We're working on some agricultural projects. So this was a lot about networking with people who are already there. We have about probably 15 Africans who are working doing this work and involved in the agricultural part, the ministry part. We're the financial part. So you just can't send your money over there. You have to be involved. So we traveled all over the country. We made a lot of contacts.
Through their networking efforts, Bethel Bible Church hopes to play a small role in bringing a sense of normalcy to the daily lives of the people of Sierra Leone.
If we can get some businesses started, I think if people begin to thrive spiritually in a church, their kids are able to go to school. Without the schools that we're involved with, there was no place for these kids to go. They're on the street, they have nothing to do. From a lasting standpoint, obviously eternally, just that whole issue of just kind of giving them purpose in life, and then just be able to have a business where they can, people can go to work and have the dignity to be able to make a living and bring their family food to eat is what we'd love to be able to do, and get some things started in that way.
For Dr. Ridenour, being involved in mission work has been an eye-opening experience.
A great income there is $1 a day. It doesn't go far. So, just seeing the blessings we have here, it's pretty unbelievable just to see how actually the majority of the people in the world live. I mean, this is the bottom of the bottom. It just helps you get things in perspective. The things that people can get involved in here seem kind of superficial, and when you start looking at just how people are wondering where their next meal is coming from, that part of the Lord's Prayer, give us this day our daily bread, takes on a whole new meaning when you live there, because a lot of people we've known there, you come back a year later and they've lost weight. They just don't have enough to eat. If they get one meal a day, that's pretty good. It's just kind of a paradigm shift when you start thinking how fortunate we are.
Dr. Ridenour feels it's important for people to get personally involved.
It's one thing just to get a glossy photo in the news, in the mail, and to send your money away, but it's another thing to put faces and see each of these people have personalities, obviously, and they're made in the image of God. And a lot of what we're trying to do is to not just send money. I mean, it's great to do relief work to try to prevent starvation, but if we can begin to provide jobs and start some agricultural work, giving people dignity is a huge part of all this.
Trinity Mother Frances ER physician Gary W. Williamson has practiced medicine for 30+ years. Over the years, working in the ER, he began to see a growing need.
I became aware of the patient's needs, that they had no access to care except for the emergency departments, and there was no way they could get preventive health care and maintenance health care for diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, general care that they needed. And so I wanted to create an environment in our hometown that could provide that for them.
In May of 2008, Gary and his wife Ann teamed up with other volunteers and began the process of bringing a clinic to Athens. In January 2010, the Disciples Clinic of Athens, Texas, a Christian faith-based clinic offering low-cost primary health care to the working uninsured that live in Henderson County, opened its doors and began seeing patients.
It's like the Bethesda Clinic in Tyler. It's really along the same guidelines as that. And the age group is between 19 and 64. We see no children because they can get CHIPS or Medicaid, and then if you're over 64, you're on Medicare. So we just see that age group.
What we wanted to do with this clinic was to not compromise in quality. We wanted our patients to receive the same basic quality of care that they'd receive at any doctor's office. As you can see from the facility, it compares to most doctor's offices in terms of what's available.
The clinic offers basic services found in most primary care facilities: mammogram services, dentistry services, and specialized care in conjunction with other Athens area facilities.
We've been open Tuesdays, Thursdays all day, and Saturday mornings since that time. We have seen well over 3,000, probably closer to 4,000 patient visits at this time. We actually serve as a medical home for about 600 or 700 patients.
Of course, none of this would be possible without the help of the wonderful staff of volunteers.
Everyone who works at Disciples Clinic is a volunteer. We are pretty unusual in that respect, and very few clinics have been able to do what we've done, the size and the quality of what we've done, without at least some paid employees.
Trinity Mother Frances hospitalist Stephen Walling has been volunteering at the clinic since it opened and loves being a part of the clinic.
I always wanted to do something that was a mission-minded kind of activity, but it's hard for me to go on mission trips to Africa or to Mexico or other places and take time away from my responsibilities at Mother Frances Hospital. So this was a great opportunity for me to be able to be involved in some mission type work that would fit my schedule. So it just turned out to be a very good development for me. It's just such a pleasure to practice medicine here. It's kind of the way I envision medicine. Practicing medicine must have been when I was growing up in the 50s, because the entire focus is between me and my patient, what I can do for the patient. The government is not involved in my decision making. I really don't think about insurance company requirements or restrictions with regard to my patients. I can just think about doing what they need to have done. And it's really a pleasure to be able to be so unencumbered in your thinking about how to treat people. There's not many venues where you can do that anymore, so that's a pleasure for me.
For Anne, it's been a joy to watch her husband's dream become a reality and the impact it's made on their patients' lives.
It's very rewarding to see patients that you can help, that you know that need the help, and it's to see them to go back and see the doctor and they come out and they're just so thrilled and they thank you that they're getting either dental care or medical care at a very reduced rate. And it's really rewarding to see them happy and getting good medical care.
For Dr. Williamson, witnessing the impact the clinic has had on his patients and staff is one of the most rewarding experiences of his life.
It has been the best thing I've ever done. It has been truly gratifying in my heart to see this happen. I've said many times, and it's become more apparent to me as time goes on, this clinic does at least as much good for the people who work here as it does for the patients who come here. It's a sense of goodness, and it's an opportunity to work shoulder to shoulder and side by side with some of the finest people you've ever met, because they're here donating their time and expertise for no pay, except for the feeling that they get from having done it, and the satisfaction of seeing our patients do well.
For all of these physicians and their families, volunteering has become a way of life for them. Giving back is something they feel compelled to do.
It's what I was made to do. And I enjoy every aspect of what I do. I enjoy working in the emergency department. I enjoy every aspect of being a physician. But this is medicine in its truest form, in its purest form, for no other reason except to see patients do well.
I'm pretty confident that my husband and I will spend the rest of our lives working to try to impact these kids and make their lives better.
And advice for those who have the desire to get involved with mission work?
You just got to take that first step. You just got to make the call. You got to show up. You know, a wise man once told me that more than half of life is just showing up.
I would pray about it, you know, because I think that if that's where you think your heart is, I know that there is a place in this world that God has for people with the heart for missions. It just happened to be that Family Legacy was where He led us. There's so many opportunities out there that I would just encourage people to pray about it, and I feel like God will show them the right place for them.
The minute you get up and do something, you're going to be a blessed person, and somebody else is going to be blessed too. And then it's a chain reaction. So we're blessed to be blessings.